All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Indie Show. I'm so excited today. My name is Joey Vitale. I'm an attorney. This is Dalia Abdalla. I'm so excited to have her on as a guest today. So real quick, if this is your first time watching the show, welcome to the Indie Show. My name's Joey. I'm a lawyer for creatives. And as a business owner myself, I understand that the legal side of your business is only part of the equation of having a thriving business. And so each week, every Thursday morning, I bring on another business expert to kind of share their insight on their angle of the business. So that being said, I will cut really quickly to my guest and start this conversation because I'm so excited. So I'm going to let Dalia kind of introduce herself in just a little bit. Before I do that, I wanted to explain to you guys kind of my story of how I connected with her. And that is that Dalia, like myself, has a Facebook group with over 6,000 members, and it's dedicated, similar to me, like to creative business owners, especially handmade sellers. And I can't remember how exactly we got connected, but I remember us kind of both being impressed and kind of taking a breath at the same time by meeting somebody else who was in this industry, was able to just kind of get real with their audience. And I think what's cool about Dalia is that a lot of the tips that she gives, she does have courses and stuff that we can get into, but her main moneymaker is her own handmade business. And so much of the tips that she provides is just her being a nice person. So Dalia, you take it away, and just if you could tell the group kind of your backstory, what you do now, and how that all started, that'd be great.
Sure. So Dalia Abdalla here. I'm very excited that you have me on the show. A lot of my members are very excited as well. They think we're like perfect together when we're, on a show. So I'm like, okay, that's great. So I am Handmade Mastermind. You can find me over in my Facebook group and the handmademastermind.com. I also, of course, run my own handmade business, actually businesses. I have several, the main one being Modern Pink Paper, and I sell stationery goods. I started selling my handmade goods, I guess unofficially, the end of 2010, got really serious about it when I had my second kid, which was the end of 2012. Started doing it full time, I'm going to say about 2 years later. Wait, sorry, 2012, 2013. No, sorry, 1 year later, 1 year later. And actually how I started the Handmade Mastermind was, after doing my handmade business for a while, I had a need to want to help people. I love teaching and things like that, and helping people. And I just reached out to an Etsy community and I said, hey, I want to mentor somebody who's interested. Well, that opened like a huge thing. And let me tell you, I posted it and there was like so many comments. Some people that have been with me since the beginning probably remember.
I've never heard this before. That's awesome.
I didn't tell you this. Well, there was like over 200 comments, and I didn't know, obviously I know people want help, but I didn't know how much it would be popular. So then I was getting some, and it was toward the latter part of the day. I slept, didn't take off my notifications on my phone, and I was getting awoken at night from these messages, Facebook, and I was pretty pissed. I was like, I can't sleep. And I realized how many people wanted help. And, a lot of people need help, of course, but how many people were actually interested? And I'm like, okay. So I ended up actually choosing 2 people, but I still didn't want to say no to everybody else. I felt bad. I wanted to help them. So I said, hey, I'm going to make a free video. Join me on it. I'm going to teach you a lot of things. And after that, it just took off. Somebody was like, hey, make your own Facebook group so you can continue helping these people. I'm like, yeah, sure. I love it. I love helping people and hearing the success stories. I mean, it's an ego thing, to be honest. I love it. It makes me feel really good about myself, but I'm also helping people in the same time. So that's how I got started.
I love it. And so we're going to be talking a lot about SEO specifically. And did you have SEO knowledge before you started kind of the hobby part of your business in 2010 or?
So no, not in the traditional way you're asking, I think. No, I did not. So I guess over many years of experience. I gained it. But even with people that sold as long as I have, some people may not even get SEO still. So some people may be asking me, so what makes you special? How did you really get on it and become an expert in it, right? Mm-hmm. I would say that obviously the many years experience selling on Etsy and a few other platforms, but without sounding arrogant, so bear with me. I have a creative side, my brain creative side, definitely, right? I'm an artist, etc. But I also have an analytical side. I remember in college, I was taking calculus classes, calculus 2, etc. And I didn't have to take anything past calculus, but I took the courses past it just because I loved math, and I took them in the morning to start my day off. So I love the analytical side of a lot of things. So I always read business books and things of the sort. I was very interested in how things worked and how things went viral. And so it was just part of my nature to understand how search engines work and how algorithms work on different platforms, you know?
Yeah. I think that's so interesting. Well, because I think that you know, as your members can attest to, and as I am seeing more and more, you just have this ability to kind of understand both sides. I think that a lot of people go into a creative business by leaning on their creativity, and there are a lot of creatives who are also type A, analytical, but it's kind of difficult to juggle both of those. So props to you. It looks like there are some people who aren't getting sound working. Other people are saying that the sound is working fine. I'll take a look at this later, but it seems like for the majority of people it's getting through. So let's get into it. Dalia, I've got some questions here, and this is kind of like a conversation, so we'll just kind of see where everything leads. But
sure.
Since we want to start with SEO, can you tell us kind of in layman's terms what SEO is?
Sure. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it is pretty much, and I'm going to talk about selling platforms in this case, but it is pretty much the search phrases, keyword phrases you use, right? So buyers can find a product like yours. So if you are on Etsy and you're applying, search engine optimization, you're trying to use keyword phrases in your titles and tags, again, specifically on Etsy, where if a buyer is searching for personalized stationery, similar to what I sell, when they're typing what they want, you're hoping that they find you, right? And then, of course, like you and purchase you. Without search engine optimization, SEO, they won't be able to find you. It's almost equivalent to making a beautiful product and literally hiding it in the corner of your basement, pretty much, because they can't find you. So, and this applies not just to Etsy, it applies to any selling platform, and not just selling platforms, but a lot of things that we do. So if you're blogging, if you have a YouTube channel, a lot of our lives revolve around search. When was the last time you took out your phone? I don't know if you have an iPhone or Android. I take out my Android and I tell it, hey, Google, and then it, activates, and I ask it a question, because I don't feel like typing it. That's the same idea. The reason why I get certain results is because those people, whatever, the blog or whatever that comes up, whether they know it or not, actually, they utilize search engine optimization in order for me to find their post or their product or whatever I'm searching for. Okay. So it revolves around a lot of things that we do, even on social media. Think about Instagram.
Yeah.
When you're using it for fun, not for business, you're searching hashtags, right? That's the same idea. Hashtags, it's its own search engine optimization on Instagram. Okay. You go on Facebook, and I don't know the last thing you did on Facebook was, but if you're looking for groups and you're typing in Etsy, right? And it shows you a whole bunch of groups pages. The reason why those come up is because that keyword was in a group name or whatever. You name it. It is everywhere.
Yeah, well, I think it's important that you kind of lay it out like that, because I think when a lot of people hear search engine optimization, they just think Google, and that's kind of it. And like you said, there's so much more going on in terms of searching. But at the end of the day, it's helping people find you. And on that note of people finding you, I want to talk with you a little bit, because I know that you're not just kind of selling SEO knowledge. You're also a business owner, and you help kind of holistically. Part of me is starting to honestly get fed up with all of these business owners who are trying to sell to new businesses, saying what I'm providing you is this like foundational piece to your business. And right when you're starting, you need marketing, SEO, branding, legal help, whatever, in order for you just to get started, even with your limited budget. And like, in your opinion, how foundational is SEO from the start?
So before I answer that, I love what you just said, because as small business owners or newer business owners, they don't, I mean, maybe they do, but some of them don't even know what is necessary. So of course, there's a lot of great courses out there, and, but sometimes they don't know what they must start with. And when a member of mine asked me, hey, which one should I work on first, this or that, I kind of find out where their business is first before I determine. If you already got SEO down, photos, the basics, right, the things that you need to get done, that's fundamental, then they may want to work on marketing, etc. So I like that you're saying it that way, because to answer the question, SEO is very fundamental. And let me explain why. I'm going to kind of walk through this process. So you're a creative, right? And maybe you started this as a crafting thing, which is great. I love paper and I love design. So just kind of marry the two, and here I am. So I was kind of like, oh, I'm excited for somebody to want to have my product in their home. So I told my husband, hey, can I start this? He's like, yeah, go for it, right? So I did. I started designing some things, putting up on Etsy. So obviously the first part is creating product, right? Product line was one of the most important things. Without it, there's nothing to sell, right?
Yep.
And without an actual decent product line, things that are high in demand, then nobody's going to search for your product, right? Nobody's going to want it. So product line is the first fundamental thing I think is required. One that's high in demand or relatively in demand, and a decent one, right? So then after that, in my opinion, comes, even though you'll have some photos, but SEO comes next.
So the first thing, just to kind of back up and to recap, the first thing is making sure that what you're putting out there is something that people actually will want.
Right, and of course,
validating that.
Yeah, and that could really mean a lot of things. It's relative what that means, meaning my stuff is not as high in demand as possibly something else in another market. As long as it's decent demand, imagine you started creating rat hammocks. I don't know what that is, but imagine nobody's searching for that. So you may be so passionate about it and you're knitting it or however you make it, but if nobody's searching for it, you're going to have a hard time, Joey, getting found, making sales, etc. So the product line has to come first. One, creating it, and of course something that is in demand. And on top of that, the style, right? Because I can make stationery, but if my styles, let's just call it, sucks, again, that's relative, then nobody's going to buy it. It's not really trendy or whatever. So that comes first, yes. And after that comes SEO, because you created a product, now you want to show people it because you want them to buy it. You choose your poison. Do you want to work on SEO so people could find you, or do you want to work on marketing so you could find people? So I usually recommend people work on SEO because I'm not going to use the word easier, but for lack of a better word, it's easier. Also because it tends to work for you when you're sleeping, right? I make sales overnight. I make sales throughout the day. I'm not constantly marketing. So SEO is the next bit to get your products found. The reason why I say photos is last, it's last out of 3 items, but because you could still have okay photos and still get sold. It just, at least you have a photo of what you're selling. But I usually recommend people work on SEO first, get found, and then work on really fantastic photos in order to help conversions and things of the sort.
Okay, cool. And let's kind of bring that back into language that I can understand as someone who's not in like the product space as much. So first, kind of make sure that there's a demand there. Then make people come and find you. And again, like to me, like this all boils down to like you have to start with the fact that there's a solution to a pain point. Because nice photos are not going to convince somebody to buy from you. I mean, they're helpful, but that's not going to be the thing that says, oh, I was iffy, but their photos are really nice, so I'm definitely going to buy from them.
Right.
But so the first thing is making sure that solution to the pain point is there, whether it's a product or a service, really. And I'm saying this because I've talked to a lot of service-based companies that say, Joey, I am putting hundreds or thousands of dollars into SEO help because they told me that if I put money into SEO, it would help with the bottom line. And then they do it, and it doesn't seem to be working.
Right. So so it definitely matters about demand for product. There's only a small number of, people who could take something that people don't want, okay, that is like not solving a pain point, and market it in such a clever way that they could actually get it sold. I'm sure we've seen examples of that, where it's just like a must-have item. I need water, I need air, I need milk, I need things to live, right? I need, to send out invitations for my daughter's birthday, whatever, but there's certain products that there's not particularly a need for. But if you're really skilled at marketing and getting, the copy down correctly, and sometimes videos are better than photos when it goes viral. If you know how to do an ad campaign on Facebook and really make people want it, sometimes you could actually have a product that's not really high in demand per se. It may solve a pain point, but if you're clever enough, you could get it sold. Now, for everybody that's watching out there, don't listen to what I'm saying, only because it is very difficult to take something that's not, in demand, in need,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about, right? Things that you don't really need, but I have to have it. Look how clever that video is.
Yep.
And I've seen
and the hard thing about that, and we're kind of seeing that now, especially me as an attorney, is when something out there that goes out there that is kind of clever that you have to have, typically what happens is that's a trending thing. And so the SEO is super helpful so that you can kind of grab onto it while it's trending, but you have to have the rest of your business set up so that when that trend starts to go away, you're not losing all of your money because all of your business model was based on that thing that was only temporary. I want to real quickly go to a couple comments that came in. So Miles says, do you think SEO is still the priority when you have a service versus a product? Really good question. And then Misty says, love it. SEO equals people find you. Marketing is you find people. So I wanted to read those together. I think Misty has a really good question about if you're a service versus a product, does that change the priority of SEO? And I think that's a really good distinction. I'm not sure, and I'm interested in your thoughts, Dalia, but I do think that going kind of back to what you said, I think some of it depends on whether what you're selling, whether it's a product or a service, is it something that is kind of there's already a business model for or not? And using my example as a law firm, the niche that my law firm has isn't really something that's traditional. A lot of people don't really think to search it. And so it's not like I'm a personal injury attorney and having SEO kind of in my area. Right. People could just search personal injury attorney Joey, and that would really help me.
Right.
Because I'm doing something kind of new, I can't rely as much on SEO as a priority for people to find me. So I have to increase my marketing. And
I agree with that. So to answer that question, in my opinion, it really will depend on your target market. So Joey right now just gave us a great example. He understands his target market and how people and why they search. And he realized, you know what, like I said before, choose your poison. Do you want people to find you, or do you want to find people? But in Joey's case, he kind of has no choice. There's more, no choice where there's not that much demand, people searching for his type of services because it's relatively newer, but he finds that, it's much more comfortable for him and much more profitable where he goes out and finds people. And in your type of business, your target market, creative entrepreneurs, they're hanging out in Facebook groups, they're hanging out all these places. So it will change a priority to answer that question, depending on your target market and where they hang out. Okay. Now, for example, I'm a service-based business when it comes to the Handmade Mastermind. Okay. Mm-hmm. More of my focus, let me fix my computer here. More of my focus is, marketing, right? To find, small business owners as opposed to SEO. I have some SEO things going. I have blog posts, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, in this case, I changed my, the need for it. It's a little bit less. I'm going to the marketing side. So again, to answer that question, you have to understand your target market. Is your target market for the service-based business, are they searching more, or are they particularly in, and again, we're using this as an example of Facebook groups, trying to engage with other people like them, et cetera. So can you find where they are and hang out with them there? So the priority will change depending on your target customer.
Okay, I want to move on to a different topic, but first I want to read this comment from Sunita. She says, I've always marketed and I have a good following, but I'm so exhausted. My product doesn't solve a problem, children's clothing, but what can I do in terms of SEO or other related help to get people to buy or invest? And it looks like we might have some technical difficulties with Dalia being frozen. We'll see what happens here. But I wanted to respond to Sunita. Sunita, I challenge you on that a little bit because I totally get what you're saying, but I wouldn't sell what your business does short there. I think that it might kind of sound weird for you to say, but you are really solving a problem. Someone is buying that from you because they need it in some way. Let me see here. We are going to do we're going to come right back on. I'll get Dalia back on, and we'll come back in just a little bit.